So men in their 20s, man, it's a lost decade, I think.
It
I
no,
mean,
I mean,
I did one significant thing in terms of personal development. Well, I guess two, but there's really one thing that I did for myself that was of my own volition, and that was based on wanting to improve myself, and that is deciding to go celibate for a year when I was 26 years old. And
mm,
now it might be hard to believe looking at me now, but when I was 26 years old, I was very thin, I was very good looking, and the ladies paid attention. So making that decision was not an easy one, but I had just come off a string of 5 disastrous relationships in a row, and it finally occurred to me that the determining factor in those relationships was me. So the most consistent factor, I should say, was me. So I was like, all right, I know I am choosing crazy chicks. I'm not trying to say that they're not crazy, but I'm trying to figure out why I keep choosing them and how to stop doing that. So I thought it was a good idea to reorient myself to women and just dig in and figure out what that was about for me. What was my relationship with women about? And it turned out to be in the top 3 decisions I've ever made. One was having a son. 2 was going celibate for a year at 26, and the third was switching to boxer briefs. Hi-oh.
boxer briefs.
But
Cheers.
back to the decision. Here's what I learned after a year of celibacy. I learned, and this is going to sound like a joke, but I mean it. I learned that women were people too. Believe it or not, I didn't really know that before I was celibate. And I also learned that what I wanted from women was not sex, it was affection.
Right.
And I was getting lots of sex, I was getting very little affection. And so I was unhappy most of the time in my relationships. So those two distinctions um, changed everything in the type of women that I wound up being in relationships with, and the quality of the relationship.
Right.
You know, so big deal. Did you have a
Air
moment like that? Oh, high five,
Air five.
virtual high five.
There you go.
So
All
did
right.
what in your life, whether, and it doesn't matter whether you were young or not, but was there anything like that for you where uh you keep hitting the mic, you friggin' animal.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm like a fucking bull in a china shop in here. I gotta be constrained to my chair to have the proper Zoom level. Who gives a shit? Let's do this. So yeah,
sure, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah,
Keep talking. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
No,
um
so
yeah.
I do actually. So right around I'd say 18, 19, I met this girl, or I worked with this girl or whatever, and I was like really into this girl, right? I was a little bit wet behind the ears as far as how to get women. So, I thought, man, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be super romantic with this girl. I'm gonna shower her with gifts and be super suave and
Oh
write her
boy, I already see where
poems.
this is headed.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And it was just like, right, this thing where, I'm treating her great. And I'm like, oh, look, she's smiling, she likes it. You know what I mean? Let me buy her flowers. Oh, it's her birthday. Let me buy her some balloons and pick her up and all of this shit and like whatever. And you know what? You just like I found myself getting just strung along with this girl, right? Just you know, and I would do that to other girls too. But she was the one that just sort of like ended it, right? And then what I started doing after that was just let me be a dick. Because now I'm mad, right? Like I'm just like, oh, I got strung along like probably for almost a year, maybe more, right? Like at this
Well, what do you
point
mean
where
by
I'm
strung along?
like, I'm just like, oh, like I just keep doing this. I just keep, trying to win her over, and she's just like, oh, I'm just gonna go out with another guy, right? And and basically get nothing for my effort. Like, you say you like me, this and that, and it's just like, just little kid games and shit like that, and it
So are
never
you
really.
saying that you didn't have sex with her? Is that what you mean?
No, no, not at all, not even close.
Okay.
um well, I shouldn't say not even close, but no sex. And for all that time, it's just like, wow, like that you're going out with another guy, and like, I don't care that you're going out with another guy. Can I get some too, bitch? Like, but it's just this thing where it's like, like that part of me died. To this day it's fucking gone. Like, I don't know how to be romantic anymore. Fuck you. And so I just went ahead and just really um became a dick, right? And so the next few girls kind of suffered because I was just there to just, what do you got? What do you got between them boxes? You know what I mean? Like, just
All
let me
right.
see
So
what you
you're
got.
saying that that's going on to this day? That doesn't sound right.
No, as far as like not the romance part. So hold on, let me just finish up. And so for a little while, like then I went all the way back and I started realizing it's like, hey man, it's so easy to get laid when you're a dick. No wonder so many guys are being dicks, right? Because it's just like, oh, you just go in, you do what you got to do. And I was fairly handsome back then, so it wasn't that difficult. And then when you start getting laid and the results are because you're being a dick, it's real easy to just to stay in being a dick. But I didn't want to be a dick, right? So I had to find some like happy medium, like something that worked where I was still a nice guy and I was able to keep quality women around, uh, and but not be so nice that you just get taken advantage of. And finding that balance was sort of what I had to go through, right?
Very interesting. Well,
Yeah.
you're hitting on some very, very interesting points. The thing that popped up most is exploring the idea of why you were being taken advantage of when you were a nice guy.
I mean, I think it happens to a lot of people in a lot of different ways.
No,
And
no,
that's why.
let's just talk about you. Why did you get taken advantage of when you were a nice guy?
Why did I? I don't know. I just think it was because it was easy.
Easy in what way?
Easy that I'm not, like, oh, I'm a nice guy. If somebody, if I'm being, generous and nice and all of this stuff, it's like, I think the person wanted it, because who wouldn't want to be treated nicely? And you know, I stayed around, so I'm gonna just milk this until I can, as long as I can.
Right, but that's interesting because those are two different things, right? Those are not automatically things that are joined together. Just because you were being nice, why would that mean that you should be taken advantage of? So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let's go back to the lions on the Serengeti, right?
Yeah,
Because that's what we all are, really.
yeah.
And of course, I'm speaking exclusively of mammals. I don't want to hear talk about birds and fish. I don't give a fuck. And your story about penguins isn't even true. They're not monogamous. But anyway, so mammals, right? What do why is a male that is looking to court a female, and by court I suppose I mean fuck in this case, but why is it detrimental for him to be the nice guy? And by the way, I'm not suggesting that you have to be an asshole, but there is definitely a price to pay, because what you related is something that many men have related to me. I've gone through it myself. So I get that happens, but why does it happen? And it happens for this reason. Just like the lions on the Serengeti, the males that are successful are confident and strong,
Right.
right? And in the wild, pardon me, I'm going through puberty again. In the wild, you literally have to fight, sometimes to the death, in order to have the right to pass on your genetics through a female. And guess what? Human mammals are no different. They don't know this because I've never heard a woman admit this, or even acknowledge that it was true. But, we're all driven by DNA and evolution. And we're largely driven by the smallest part of our brain in the back, the brain stem and all that.
Yeah.
And that's where all of our reptilian, ancient, prehistoric shit um, inserts itself into quote unquote modern day life, right? And the reason why I put the word modern in quotes is because that word came along and was coined in the 1500s. And 500 years ago in 1520, we don't look at what they were doing as modern. So the word really is all about relativity, right?
Hmm.
So all this modernity is really just window dressing. There's no reality to it. It's just technology, right? People mistake technological evolution for biological evolution. They think people are
Hmm.
better and different now than they used to be. There's absolutely no way that's true. Just read stories about the 1918 pandemic and all the people that were complaining about wearing masks so much that they had to make laws and put people in jail for not wearing masks.
Hmm.
That was 102 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Where's this evolution you're talking about?
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
just because we can send emails with our thumbs doesn't mean that we have evolved as humans. It means that our technology has evolved, and those two things are not automatically conjoined.
Right.
So, getting back to being a nice guy, well, if women are programmed to respond to strength, then they're going to reject weakness.
Right.
And when you're being the nice guy, most of the time you're projecting weakness. It's not that they want to reject you. She probably liked you. She probably enjoyed your company. You're a funny guy. You're a good looking guy. I tend to get weak kneed when I'm around you. So you're obviously very attractive.
Thank you.
Um, but, um, but they're operating off of the same DNA. It's like that old saying, when you're talking about women, you don't know who you want, but your pussy does,
Yeah.
right? That's speaking to exactly what I'm talking about, the primal nature
Hmm.
of who we are, of what we are. What
Yeah.
we are is still primal lions on the Serengeti. And when you are not playing your role as a male, the females are going to reject you.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like when if you go back to high school and you think about the guys that were getting laid in high school, which were few and far between. Everybody was getting laid according to them, because there's a lot of dudes that just lied about it. But the dudes that were getting laid in high school, um, these are guys that were the alpha males. Right, when you really break it down,
Yeah.
like these, oh, captain of the football team, cool, all right, cool. He's a confident guy. The class clown, a lot of times was just a guy who was just like, whatever, I'm confident, I'm happy, I'll say whatever, like, cool. And so on and so forth. And the point is that I wasn't picking that up when I was that younger, right? Like, I was just like listening to the girls talking about all the guys that they hated and why, right? And so you're just like collecting data, trying not to be that dude. And then when it's your turn to bat, you're trying to be like, okay, cool, let me step this way, not that way. Let me make sure that they're happy, blah, blah, blah. And then you realize it's like, no, that's not what you want at all. That's,
Right. And you know what that's like?
yeah,
That's like a deer telling a bear how to hunt it,
yeah,
right? The prey does not determine how it gets hunted.
right,
Bears don't collaborate with deers.
right,
Okay, they just eat
right,
them.
yeah,
Cougars don't go up to a deer and say, "Hey, what's the best way for me to hunt you?"